Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Uduri Chagero, and this is Dialogues with Chagero. Today, I am with fan favorite. Fan favorite. That's true.
Really?
How are you, Dr. Katambo?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks
A lot
for
of
having
people
me
have
again.
a lot of people have loved the episode.
I think what they loved was the message.
Yes.
in the
But
episode.
when they love the message, they sort of also extend that love to the person who is delivering the message.
Thank you for having me for that episode. I really enjoyed it.
You really enjoyed it.
Yes.
People were pleasantly surprised about complex carbohydrates. How diabetes people are told to take ndoma in the morning. They were so shocked.
Eat me, lick me, chew me, bite me, calories, they join the party, a mischievous pair. Adding inches to our waistlines, we just don't care. We're here to spill the sweet truth, break it all down. From glucose to fructose, sucrose in disguise.
Yeah, and as I told you, it's one of the biggest myths and one of the I think I'll have to do a research one of these fine days.
Yeah.
People wake up with very good sugars.
Yeah.
And then you just find our mothers and fathers just taking Doma in the morning. And
Yeah.
by the time they come to your clinic at 10,
Yeah.
the sugar is high.
The sugar is high. So anyway, I have brought Dr. Katambo again, Daniel Katambo again, and we are going to be doing a limited series. We are going to be talking about episode 1, which is the truth about weight loss. And we are going to be looking at calories versus calories in versus calories out. We are going to be debunking the fad diets. We are going to be talking about the keto, the intermittent fasting, and things like that. And then we are also going to be talking about how much weight loss is realistic.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And then we are going to be addressing the stubborn weight loss lies.
Yes.
Carbs are the enemy. You have to exercise intensely 2 hours a day and things like that.
Yes.
And then we are going to be talking about your personalized plan,
Yeah.
calculating calories needs and things like that. Episode 3, we are going to be talking about nutrition makeover. Okay. Episode 4, we are going to be talking about exercise. Shida yenye imekuwa shida sugu.
Ndio hiyo.
Okay, and then episode 5 we're going to be talking about motivation and mindset. Shida ni kwamba watu wana when you crave for that chocolate, how do you tell yourself and how do you win over that crave?
I think that episode you're going to talk about, do you know something called food addiction?
Yeah, you talked about sugar addiction.
That we'll talk about it a little bit more.
And then tackling cravings and emotional eating.
Yes.
So let's talk about the truth about weight loss. Give me a rundown. What do you think about weight loss? Imekuwa ikisumbua watu for a long time. What comes to mind when you think about weight loss?
I think to me, and once again, thanks for having me. I think to me, people struggle if the first thing that when somebody mentions weight loss, it's sort of like struggle.
Yeah.
And the next thing is, why do people struggle?
Yeah.
And the next answer that I have in my mind is because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
To me, I think weight is something that we need to be aware of way before you even graduated from campus. But when you grew up, maybe, I don't know, Kisumu?
Kisumu, for sure.
You grew up with the mentality that you want to drive a bigger car.
Yeah.
And you really want to be sort of, you had an idle person who was not slim like myself.
Yes.
This person was big. And this has been ingrained in you since you were young, right? So you finish primary, then you finish high school, and you go to campus, and thereafter you say, now I got a job, or you get a job. And what is the first thing that comes into your mind? It is, I need to buy a car, I need to get married, and all this slowly unknown to you, you gain weight. And when you go back home to Kisumu, people are saying you're doing what? You're doing well.
You're doing well. Kitambi imekuja.
Kitambi imekuja.
Yeah, long imekuwa kubwa.
Yes.
Kiatu ni kubwa.
Yes.
The head is a bit
Yes, and you're
big.
having
The-
some
the-
nice...
the wrinkles.
Yes.
The Lugus really love it.
Yeah.
We really love
You
it.
do?
Yes, mtoto wa nani. Ai!
Really?
Usibiro. You know, now he's akona kifridge.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
And then unknown unto you now, at some point, this starts to become a bothersome at an individual point of view. At yourself, within you. You start fighting yourself. You realize, I cannot do some of those things that I used to do even 2 to 3 years ago because of the weight. Then you now seek answers. And where do we seek answers? Mister? Google.
Yes.
Do you know Google is a good place, but you need to know where you are searching and what you are searching. But when you look at Google weight loss, you are likely to get either a sponsored program, a sponsored TikTok account, a sponsored something that will pop up with you. And this is the likely information that we'll digest. Unfortunately, this information in Google, if not utilized or searched properly, leads to misinformation. And therefore, with your weight or the struggle of weight, you begin doing the things that we'll go through today, which is the things people are calling fad diet, which we are going to look at. Are they really fad, or is it that we do not understand them? And then you begin doing them, and again, you don't set goals, you don't understand what exactly what you're supposed to do, and at some point you give up. And when you give up again, you go back to the normal self. Again, you now move from maybe you are 70, you went to 80, you lost a little bit, you went to 76, you give up, you gain again to around 87, and you slowly find yourself gaining weight from overweight, obesity class 1, obesity class 2, obesity class 3, and morbid obesity, which is a BMI of more than 40.
Will explain to me these obesity classes, the chapters in obesity.
Yeah. So obesity can be divided into, the way you gain weight can be divided according to BMI. BMI is basal metabolic index, where you take your height and you base it according to your weight. So let's say somebody has a height of 170. Or two people have a height of 170. And this one for 170, person A weighs 100 kilos and person B weighs 140 kilos. Their BMI is different. So we grade that according to your height and how much you're supposed to weigh.
Yeah.
So normally, according to your height, you're supposed to be somewhere between 18 to 24.5. But I usually like using whole numbers to not confuse people. So let's say 18 to 25. That is normally where you're supposed to be. So anyone, if you take your height and you take your weight and you calculate that number, it's a calculation that we do. Once your BMI lies between 18 to 25, then that's normally, we say that is normal weight. Now, if you're between 25 and 30, then we say you are overweight, okay? And
25 to 30.
Yes, 25 to 30. That is somewhere we say now, hii si mbaya. Sawa.
Yes.
And then now we go to obesity class. Anything above 30 is obesity. So anything between 30 and 34 is class 1. Anything between 34 to 38 is class 2. Anything between 38 and 41 there is class 2, is class 3. And anything above that is now morbid obesity.
What is morbid obesity?
And BMI of more than 40.
Yeah.
Do you know what that translates to?
No.
That's a very high weight as opposed to your height. If you want to take an example, let me use my own example.
Yeah.
My height is 181 centimeters, which
Yes.
converts to 1 0.8 meters. Now, I don't want to say my height because I mean my weight because I'm slightly underweight. I'm actually 64.
Yeah.
If you calculate my BMI, it's around 18. Right?
18 is perfect. That is
Yeah.
where it starts.
Yeah, that's where it starts. It's supposed to be around 18.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I can't gain more weight, right? I can't gain more height.
Yes.
I can only be 181.
Mm.
What if I go to 100? Now, what is my BMI?
It jumps.
It jumps from normal to 20. I mean, if I'm around 80, around 90, I will now go to around a BMI of 27.
Mm.
The same person, but now with a different BMI. If I go to 102, I go to 33. If I go to around 120, I go to 38. If I go to maybe 140 kilos, now I have morbid obesity.
Why is it called morbid though?
It's a classification because you're big. So morbid obesity is a condition. It's a condition in medicine, and we're actually fighting for it to be identified as a disease, as opposed to, because when you come for treatment, like you're seeking, I need help for weight management, and you are obese, and you don't have any other drugs, insurance companies are not considering this as a disease.
Yeah.
And it's
just
something
like they
we
do
need.
alcohol consumption.
Yes.
And the alcohol addiction.
Yes, we need to put a lot of campaign to it, and that's why I like such forums, because they help us in understanding and making sure that we actually help these people. And people can even go more than a BMI of 40. People can go up to 50, 60. Severe morbid obesity.
Lakini the government is the insurance is saying that it is you eating the food. Nobody's forcing the food down your throat.
Unfortunately, that's how we look at it, but that's not true. Remember, and we will talk about this in either episode 4, it gets to a point whereby it's uncontrollable, and it actually becomes a condition that we need treatment for it.
Do you think it is like mental health treatment?
It's a combination, yes. It carries a lot. Even weight loss by itself carries a lot of mental health treatment and change of how you eat and behavioral change or therapy, which is really critically important. And this is one aspect that I find many individuals don't understand when it comes to weight loss. You really need to change behavior. When you're changing behavior, aren't you changing your mental health?
You are, I think.
Exactly. When you're changing how you're going to eat, you have to change your behavior. I've been eating asubuhi, saa 4, saa 7, saa 10 na jioni. All right?
Yes.
And now you have to change the way you eat. That's a behavior change. That is a mental behavior change. And it carries a big proportion of weight loss. It does.
Because even the mental strength that you must have in order for you to let that bread go, to have that cake on the table and not eat it. Bro, do you know how difficult it is not to eat cake? Especially for girldems. It's so hard.
It is true, but you remember you have picked these habits over time, right? It's not something that you have picked on one day. No. It is something that you saw as a young child.
Yeah.
You said you never... Do you know, let me tell you, I never used to celebrate birthday. I came to celebrate my first birthday in first year campus.
Those are people that were born in the village.
So for me...
Kama sisi. By the way, ulizaliwa wapi? Unakaa ulizaliwa wapi bro? Mimi nilizaliwa huku Kisumu huko kwa nini kwa Umiri. Unajua Umiri?
Sijui huko ni wapi.
Umiri ni huko Nyakach bwana. Kumekauka bwana. They are saying that Umiri has pissed on the land. It is so dry.
It is dry.
It is so dry. The last thing in your head is a birthday. Even your mother would not be, would think you have gone mad if you're talking about birthdays.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So for me, I was born in Nakuru.
Yes.
At War Memorial Hospital. But at the end of the day, even if I was born there, habits of celebrating birthdays were not in our family.
Yeah.
I came to celebrate a real birthday in campus.
Vile ulianza kupata kapesa ile ya
Yes,
ile ya boom.
Ile ya boom na ile ingine yenye unapewa na mzazi kama pocket.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sasa unadanganya nayo wasichana.
Of course.
Let's talk about calories in and calories out.
Yes.
The first question that is it really that simple? And then we talk about the factors like hormones, metabolism, and food choice, and how they impact weight loss beyond just calorie deficits.
Yeah. This is a very important aspect, and I see it a lot. I'll just give you a basic behavior that I see.
Yeah.
For example, you hear somebody has gone to the gym, and then the next thing is nimeburn calories.
Yes.
I have been using the treadmill na nimeburn calories. I have my watch na nimeburn calories. But the one thing that we forget, it can never be as simple as calories in and then calories out. First of all, it's very easy for me to calculate how many calories you're eating. How easy is it for me to calculate how many calories you're burning or you're utilizing as out? This is not as easy as it sounds. The other point that I really want to make or take across is if it was as simple as calories in and calories out, it would mean that every time you lower your calorie intake, then you lose weight. But let me ask you, is that true? Do you know when you lower your calorie in, even the calorie out goes down? True or false?
Sijui.
That is true.
Will explain that again?
If you lower your calorie intake, then even calorie output comes down. True or false? Because where is it? And true. Two, I'll give you another example. What happens to animals when they go to hibernation? They lower what? Calorie intake.
Yes, they lower it substantially.
Substantially. Does it mean that it has the same equivalence as calorie out?
No.
In fact, I don't want to go into too much science.
You should go into too much science. That's very important.
I will really... I like keeping things basic.
No.
If now you come to the professor bit of it,
Yes.
then now I quote papers.
Yes.
In this one, I like just being science says.
Yes,
Because,
science says. Yes.
yeah, science says. If you look at studies where they have been done in the US and in the UK,
Yeah.
when you look at those studies, they show from 1950s, 1970s, 1980s, if you look at the calorie consumption, it's like it has actually gone down compared to those many times that time.
Yeah.
And yet, with that, people have increased weight substantially. Like in the US, I think the rate of obesity has been going up by almost 30% yearly. That is quite high. But yet, when you look at how much overall people are consuming in 1980s and now in terms of calories, then the calorie intake has gone down as opposed to it going up for us to justify weight gain. I don't know whether that makes sense.
That makes sense. The question is
Meaning-
why though?
Yes, meaning then there has to be something else that could explain the weight gain pandemic.
Yes.
And that's exactly what answers the second part. Could we be having some type of calories that could make you gain weight and others not make you gain as much weight?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. Does that make sense? So that then gives you the answer to when you say a dog is a dog, that is a true statement, right? But is a German Shepherd the same as ile umbwa ya
Ile nyakachi.
ya nyakachi?
No. No.
But they are all dogs.
Yes.
That's the same thing that comes to calories. So where you get your calories is really important. All right? If you look at urbanization, what we have urbanized the most is where we get calories from. We have processed food, right? We have especially processed things called carbohydrates, sana. And then where we get calories that don't really bother our hormones, like insulin, like vegetables. Have you ever had a fast food that has processed sukuma wiki?
No.
Exactly. This is where the beginning of calorie in, calorie out issue becomes. And yet we want to maintain that same narrative that calorie in is equals to calorie out. So you eat calories 800 and you're going to get, if you do calories out 800, then you're okay. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Other hormones come into play. For example, if you ate calories from fish, let me use an example. We eat fish today. Of course, they will be digested. Let me not again use difficult words. They will be digested and you will get amino acids, which will produce some calories. It is very different from somebody from Central who is eating githeri or ugali and digesting the same ugali and at the end of the day producing same calories, but now from ugali. So these two people will have different reactions to this because of the hormones that each calorie is producing. For example, if you ate fish, the ability of fish or amino acids and the calories to induce or your pancreas to produce insulin is almost next to zero. However, this person who took ugali and converted to calories and then you are calling, which was actually, you converted it to sugar and then now what you are calling calories, this one will spike insulin and this guy will gain weight. So when you look at it, it's about the hormones that you spike as opposed to really the calories that you bring in.
The spiking of hormones rather than the calories that you intake.
Yes, I'm sure there's we can discuss this into some more details. But if you look at a diet that can be of normal calories, for example, let's say you take 2,000 calories, all right? That is normal. A man is supposed to give in a day between 2,000 and 2,500 calories.
That's what we are supposed to take in.
Exactly, in a day. A woman is like between 1,500 to 2,000. Okay, now let's be, 2,000. Let's take 2,000, a common denominator, 2,000.
Yes.
Now, I could eat nyama or you eat fish, whichever it is, and all of them are calories, right? They are 2,000. And then somebody else takes 2,000 calories, but then they are from rice or from pilau or from something else, right? Now, these two people are very different in terms of how they are going to deal with these calories.
Explain.
You understand?
Yes.
One of them is getting calories from proteins, and the other one is getting calories from carbohydrates. This one will convert them into sugar and spike insulin, right? This guy, if they continue like that many years, they will gain weight. This guy, if they continue like that many years, they will not even gain weight. They will remain stable. And this is where the idea of hormones plays a very big role. So insulin is a hormone that makes us gain weight. Now, I don't want to go into lots of details about insulin because the question is very general. Are there other hormones that play? So I hope I've answered the question about calorie in, calorie out.
Yes.
Now we go, do we have other hormones that play a key role in this? And the answer is yes. Number one hormone is insulin. That one is the hormone that we have to be quite careful not to spike it if you're looking at losing weight or dealing with weight. Number two, the situation at hand. All right? And the situation at hand means or is interpreted as the hormones at play. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you eat the same thing, 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories, and this guy has anxiety. And this guy doesn't have anxiety. This guy who just eat kanyama na kachumbari.
Yes.
This other one took probably kaugali ama githeri na some potatoes. Those guys from Central. That's what they do. Si umeona githeri na viazi juu.
Yes.
Nyingi sana.
Yes.
And then now other hormones at play. This is going to spike insulin. But let's say you have anxiety disorder. The way you want to look at anxiety is a state where your body is ready to fight. Sort of like a flight, sort of like mood. The body prepares you for these events. And it's not just the insulin that will go up, but you have other hormones coming into play. You have to, right now we are calm. Sindio? But if you want to beat me, other hormones come into play.
Yes.
All right? And these are hormones like epinephrine, hormones like cortisol. You spike them and they are just released into your blood. Now, anxiety is a state where you stay in a state where sort of like somebody is in a fight mode all the time. So these hormones are also up. And remember, even without sugar in your blood, right? For example, let's say we check our sugars. It's 4 and yours is 4. Okay? And then we see a lion come into this room. What happens? Does our sugar remain to be 4?
No.
What does it do?
It goes up.
Why?
I don't know.
Exactly. It goes up because of those other hormones. The hormones come into play to help you manufacture or make sugar.
I imagine the energy that is coming into your blood so that if you took off, you'd be able to run as fast.
Thank you. That's exactly what other hormones at play come in. That situation you have described is what people with anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders go through. And that can also determine your calorie in theory and calorie out theory, which really doesn't hold waters. But the hormones that are play can also come in that term. Now, those are the mental aspect of it. Now, there are conditions, medical conditions also that can lead you to have problems with your weight. And then the only one I want to highlight, there are many, but I can mention maybe 2 or 1. One is thyroid issue. Have you ever heard of conditions called thyroid issues?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it looks like.
So there are conditions where your body can make you gain weight or lose weight because of hormonal imbalance. And the number one, the one we screen the most is thyroid issues. Now, the thyroid hormone regulates your basal rates, your basal cell, how your cell functions, all right? How your brain is functioning, how you see, how you're speaking, how you are tonguing, everything. The thyroid hormone regulates that.
It's called a thyroid hormone.
Yes.
When I hear thyroid, it sounds like something that is on the...
Yeah, it is this flower thing that is usually here. It's usually here. For some people, you see they have goiter. If you've seen somebody with a big goiter here. Yes. But sometimes it's just goiter and it's functional. It's just working. There are many different forms of it. That's what I was telling you. I don't want to go into a lot of details. All I'm saying is this hormone here, right, can help you gain weight or lose weight or remain within normal. Now, if your hormone if it is producing a lot of it pumps your cell to be in a higher anxiety state. So you it's like you are running all the time. So we start to see symptoms like diarrhea. We start to see you sweating because it goes into your cells and you start sweating. Your heart pumps much faster, meaning you're consuming more.
Now, I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their own country, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans. Okay, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. Just need to go to the description, click on the link, and you can buy this book. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book, and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online, and I've been traveling, and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to program.
Is you lose weight. So one of the things is you come in, your heart rate is racing, your BP is high, your muscles are wasting out, you are having abdominal issues, you're having diarrhea, and that is hyperthyroidism. Your thyroid hormones are high. On the contrary, the same can happen. Now, instead of it being normal, which is where many people are at, now it's at lower level. When it's at lower level, it means now the hormone is not working as much, and your cells now take in more, and you now gain weight. So people with hypothyroidism will gain weight, they become constipation, they become constipated. They don't go to the toilet that much because they are now constipated. It's the opposite of the other one. And now their heart rate is lower, and they gain a lot of weight. And then there are other conditions.
But then how then do you, because I imagine that a lot of people might not know that they have got a problem with their thyroid hormones.
Yes, and that's very important. When you are gaining weight, seek a clinician's advice. You remember what I said? It's very important before you start any journey. And I see it. I see somebody saying, I have New Year's resolution. I have birthday resolution. And you hit the gym, you start doing something, you don't lose weight, you become frustrated. You have to come to clinicians. We have to screen you so that some of the things we look at. You have
So
to
if you have a problem with your thyroid hormones, is that something that can clinically be solved?
Yes. There are medications we use and they can be regulated. There are other conditions that can lead, like Cushing's. Cushing's, let me not go into details, but it's a condition whereby your hormones are also, cortisol hormone is also in excess. And this makes you gain a lot of weight. And you have truncal obesity, you gain weight, you lose muscle, you become wasted with muscle, you become wasted, you have muscle wasting, but you gain weight at your belly. And you see stria. Like
I think I've seen people like that.
Strias, yes. You see people with stria, even men with stria and all those.
What is stria?
Have you ever seen pregnant ladies who have lines like?
Oh
marks?
yes.
Those are what we call strias, and it's especially when you see them coming off pregnancy, that could easily be conditions like Cushing's. So there are medical conditions that people need to be screened, and we know that it's not the problem. Now, it is very important that I also mention other things like medications. People take medication, and especially the African way we do stuff, we tend to prescribe medications or treat ourselves. And this is not recommended. You find somebody who went to a physician or went to the hospital, and they were treated for a certain condition, and they improved. All right. Can I give you an example of this condition? Let's say a condition like asthma. which is a condition you stay with. But once you start taking inhalers, and sometimes you get an attack, you come to the hospital, we give you some steroids. Some people can respond quite well to steroids, which is a medication.
Yeah.
You feel much better, and this is maybe a week. We taper it off, and you're fine. But when now you become sick and you have another episode, you don't come visiting. You go and buy that same drug.
By yourself.
By yourself.
I have thought about that because I'm running away from the consultation fee of 3,500.
I tell you, that's a dangerous move. That is a dangerous move because steroids make you gain weight. And now you begin doing this, and because you are improving, it becomes a habit. And unfortunately, you gain weight, and they can actually induce diabetes.
It's very interesting because there is a time I've always had this pain, plantar fasciitis pain.
Mhm.
And so I went to, there is a very good doctor at this hospital along Gong Road called, what is the name? Next to City Mortuary. Anyway, she gave me some very good medicine. And the moment I started taking them, I was feeling really, 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 really better.
Yes.
You see? So then they gave me the medication to go and buy it at a pharmacy. So I went and bought it at a pharmacy in Kisumu. And then after some while, after 3 months, I felt like the problem was coming back. And then I went back to the pharmacy, and I didn't find the lady that had sold me the medicine. And then I found this other one, and she told me that I cannot give you medicine with this prescription. And they're like, why?
Well, yeah.
Like, you have to go back to the doctor
Yes.
to write it again. But then something was very interesting. That is how I came to know that actually the reason why they take the medicine after they have given you.
Yes.
So that when you come back
But
with the same
yes.
prescription,
Sure.
see that this thing has already
It has already been issued.
issued. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And it's important.
Yeah.
And I have seen so many patients suffer with that. And I've actually talking about true stories where you find people who are at 50, 60s, they have been using steroids, they have been using other medications that have made them gain weight. And now, once you get used to that drug, unfortunately, even tapering off, we can't stop it
Yeah.
because you're so much dependent on it. So
It becomes an addiction.
Yes. And now we have to keep you on it and monitor now your organs and make sure that you're okay. So whenever you're taking medications, you're prescribed or not prescribed, always seek medical advice and make sure that the doctor rewrites the same prescription or they change it.
But why don't the doctors allow themselves to be called on phone until naweza pata ingine?
I don't want to get into that discussion, but but you can imagine how many people give you a call. Let me ask you, how many people give you a call and they tell you, I need a video. Come and do a video for me.
Yeah.
Right? That is, you're looking for the business. That is actually your work. And you can answer this call anytime. But for me, when I'm answering this call, number one, I do not know the state at which you are in.
Yeah.
Okay? Even if I wrote for you those drugs a month ago, I cannot prescribe those drugs over the phone again.
You can't?
No. I have to probably see you, unless it's a condition that I really know very
money
well.
that you want to collect.
No. It is not about the condition of money. Conditions change.
Conditions change.
And they change rapidly. And it's very important. Any good doctor would want to see their patient before they rewrite those medications.
Let's talk about diets.
Yes.
They have been, if you go online, I think a lot of people who are trying to regulate their weight or improve their weight are having a lot of problems with diet. Yeah. And they're being told all manner of things. There is a video I saw where a lady was being told that she made a video that she was going to take bread, and then there is a video popping up of somebody that is talking so bad about bread. and then she goes to take meat, and then somebody's going, why are you eating dead flesh?
I think I saw that video.
You see? and then she started cooking vegetables, and then somebody popped up and said vegetables are useless. Don't even think about them. Then she went to eggs and like cholesterol, and then she just went to the sofa and sat down and was like, what do I do now? Let's talk about the fad diets. Overall, what do you think about them?
I think this is a very good question, and I like the way you have brought it out because so many people, and you remember when we began, I told you, when we want to change our lifestyle, we turn to our mobile phones.
Yes.
And now many more people are turning to TikTok, Google, and all this stuff out there. But remember, science saying something different. If, for example, what people have called fad diet, what's an example of a fad diet?
Intermittent fasting.
And
Keto.
And keto.
Yes.
Those you're calling fad diets have been labeled fad diet. Why?
I have no idea. Like,
And then
in vogue, in fashion diets.
fashion diet. Meaning that I'm a celebrity and you do it as a fashion, or
I don't know. It's like just something that has come up and people.
what is fad diet?
Mm.
And then on the opposite, what is this? What is a normal? What is what we eat? What is it called? This
Normal diet.
that is normal,
I don't know.
but that normal
Yeah.
makes us gain weight,
Mhm.
have diabetes issues, have cholesterol issues, have hypertension issues. So how normal is that? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So what we eat is normal.
Normal in quotes.
Normal in quotes.
Yeah.
I described to you what thyroid hormone is. I told you it can either be up, normal, or low.
Yeah.
So when you call normal, meaning that everything is perfect, you are healthy, you are doing well, right? But when you eat in the morning in your house, are you eating a normal diet? Are you eating a fad diet? What type of dieting are you doing? Or what type of thing are you doing when you're eating?
It's all confusing. It's all confusing and nobody's telling us the truth.
That's exactly my point.
Yes.
Before we call something fad, who said it's fad? Number two, what is normal? Okay? And this is where the issue of research has to come in. What is it scientifically that is called normal diet? Does that make sense?
What is a normal diet?
Yes.
Or
normal
what is a
diet-
good diet?
Exactly. And this now leads me to the definition of health.
Yeah.
Do you know the definition of health? A state of well-being where you are physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically well-being. I don't know, I've forgotten the last one. Well-being. And this has to be individualized. Your psychological well-being is not my psychological well-being. My food well-being is not your food well-being.
It's all confusing.
It's not confusing. It's very easy to understand.
As a doctor,
see?
yeah.
No, it's not.
When a physicist is explaining a situation, they will say it's very easy to understand. But when you are telling it to a pedestrian like me, it's all confusing.
You want to gain muscle.
Muscle weight.
Muscle weight. Is your food or normal diet, or whichever name you want to call it, going to be as mine who wants to be a marathon runner?
No.
Exactly. So we have to define diets according to an individual person. Personalization is the key. That's number one.
Personalization of your diet.
Yes. And this depends on what do you want out of what you're eating. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's nothing like normal for everybody. No.
There's nothing like keto for everybody.
No.
There's nothing like intermittent for everybody.
Fasting for everybody. No. This thing has to be personalized. And the reason why I took that approach is because what you called fad diet, the two examples, they're the most powerful researched scientific diets that are reversing type 2 diabetes.
Which ones? The custom.
Intermittent fasting
Yeah.
and the ketogenic diet.
They're the ones that reverse.
Yes. Now, is that fad diet?
Why are they calling it fad? I don't
For
understand.
example,
Mhm.
the father, like right now, these days we are calling him father, Jason Fung.
Yes.
He's written books on intermittent fasting.
Mm.
Now, let me ask you, during our forefathers, do you know we used to do intermittent fasting without our knowledge? Our ancestors used to eat one meal in a day, and the next meal, we do not know where it's coming from. So we used to eat one meal or two at most, and then we go to the forest.
And then there was no snacking.
There was no snacking.
Hakuna biscuits.
Hakuna?
Hakuna?
Hakuna.
Chipo hakuna?
How many diseases did you have that time? How many obese people do we have that time?
Well, we still have people living in the Congo forest. They don't have these diabetes things.
Thank you. So are they eating fat diet?
You seem to have a problem with the word fad. I've looked it up,
Yes.
and it's very negative. Yeah,
Yes.
popularity based on trends,
Thank
lack
you.
of scientific backing,
Thank you.
temporary focus, re-emergence in different forms. Fad diets disappear and reappear in slightly different interactions. Fad diets are often associated with rapid and sustainable weight loss. This aligns with the concept of a fad, something that is short-lived and not a long-term solution. Lack of scientific backing. Unlike well-established dietary recommendation, fad diets often have little or to no scientific evidence to support their claims.
Exactly.
They often rely on exaggerated promises and testimonials rather than solid research. What to a TikTok?
Now,
Mayo.
thank you for reading that. Because that's exactly now what I wanted to tell you. We
Yes.
started and you told me intermittent fasting and keto is fad.
Yes.
It's not true.
Yeah. It's not.
Science.
It's not fad. Yeah.
Yes. Science has proved otherwise. Now, if you're overweight, you can do ketogenic diet scientifically and you lose weight according to science. You can do intermittent fasting and you scientifically lose weight. And as long as you keep doing intermittent fasting the correct way,
Yes.
then you will lose weight. You do keto. I'll give you an example about keto diets.
Yes.
Do you know how many groups for ketogenic diets are there in Facebook?
Sijaona. Sijaangalia.
There are many. And I haven't
What,
found
what do
patients.
they do in the groups?
They advise people on ketogenic diet. And then when they come, I ask them one question. So what was your ketosis levels in the last 2 weeks? And then the first question I'm asked, what is that?
Yes.
So how are you doing ketogenic diet without doing ketosis levels?
You are asking them. But that is probably where they talk about fad because they don't understand. They're just going with it because of the trends. But even if you're going to be doing keto, I think there is doing keto the right way. True or false?
Thank you. And that's exactly my point. Let's seek medical advice. With the professional advice, you will get the good results that you are looking for. So let me debunk that myth today.
Yes.
Intermittent fasting is not fad diet. Ketogenic diet is not fad diet. And yes, we have fad diets. I have seen patients who come also to the clinic with somebody who sat down at their office or garage and formulated something, and they have WhatsApp group. And they were told on Monday, eat carrots. Sasaba, eat, I don't know, sukuma or ama mapera, matawi ya mapera.
Matawi ya mapera?
Yeah, people come to the office with all manner of things. And I ask myself, where did you get this one? I have not even read it in the books. I have never even seen it.
Those are fad diets.
Yes, now that is a fad diet.
That's
There
a-
is absolutely no science behind it. Absolutely. And therefore, when you stop it, you go into a limbo of no science, no guidance, and it fails. So you come back to the same old person that was you. You gain those kilos again. So just to give a conclusion on what fad diets are, we really need to define, first of all, what a diet is personalized to you. And then what do you want to achieve? Do you want to gain weight? When I was here last time, I told you, that people want to gain weight. Then we personalize that to gaining weight. Then we want to lose weight. Now let's look at science. What does science say? Intermittent fasting is not a fad diet. Ketogenic diet is not a fad diet. It's what we call low carb diet is not a fad diet. It's what we call low calorie diet. Now, low calorie diet is what many fad diets imitate.
Yes.
All right. So remember what I told you. Remember the first scenario I gave you. I gave you that I told you a man needs 2,000 to 2,500 calories in a day.
How many teaspoons? 20.
No. This has nothing to do with teaspoons of sugar because it depends on what you're eating. So calories is very different from teaspoons of sugar. A lady is 1,500 to 2,000. Now, if you, for any reason, lower that to a man taking between 1,000 to 1,500, that is moderate calorie intake. And then between 800 to 1,200, somewhere there, that is low calorie intake. And then very low calorie intake is anything between 500 to 800. Very low calorie intake. You basically reduced everything and your calorie intake is very low. All right? This doesn't matter whether you're taking carbs. You could be taking carbohydrate. You could be taking mandazi, but you have decided to eat one mandazi a day. And that's it. You understand what I mean? Yes, you will spike insulin here. Here you will not spike. But remember, your calorie intake now has been reduced. In this case, you will lose weight.
Yes.
All right? But
you have no otherwise but to lose weight.
you have no otherwise but to lose weight. There is no choice, but you will lose weight. However, you cannot exist, or we cannot exist on low-calorie diets. At some point, we do them as those things that people are calling fad diet. In science, now we have the scientific way of doing it, which I compare it to calorie diets, which are very scientific. In fact, I'll tell you, the first person to prove that type 2 diabetes can be put into remission or reversed used a very low-calorie diet, where he gave 12 people very low-calorie diet, stopped all medications, and people lost weight to 15 to 20 kilos, stopped all drugs, and within 2 months, he graduated them back to low-carb diets, to where
How
the
did
original-
how did this happen to the body? What happened to the body that made them reverse this diabetes?
So, now, remember, I don't know whether you can remember our lesson.
Ile ya kitabu cha sukari.
Exactly. when you are gaining weight, that process of gaining weight is stimulated mainly by insulin. All right? And the first thing that happens when you're gaining weight is deposition of, I like calling it, I don't like calling it fat, because I like calling it deposition of sugar in your liver and in your pancreas.
What does deposition mean? Reducing.
No, deposition. Could deposit.
Kuweka.
Deposit, kuweka.
Deposition, yes.
Kuweka ndani. Unaenda? So, the first places that excess sugar goes to is your liver and your pancreas.
Okay.
And then the momentum. Sort of like, I'm sorry to use this example, but allow me to use it. Ukichinja mbuzi munono, again, I think I gave this example.
Yes.
Unaona mafuta na uko ndani. That's the same thing tukinini tutaona uko ndani. The only way Now, if we wanted to reduce that deposit of fat in the liver and the pancreas, this experiment was, let's reduce how much calories in terms of whether they are coming from sugars, proteins, or whatever. Let's reduce so that now you utilize what you have stored. So you reduce what is in the liver, you reduce what is in the pancreas. All right? And you even lose weight. And those organs start to work properly. The reason why me and you are talking nicely here is because we have space. We have space between me and you.
Yes.
Sindio? Now, if we start depositing fat here, sugar here, sugar here, sugar here, sugar here, are we going to function properly in the next 10 years?
No.
Exactly. If we stop bringing that sugar, it will take us time before we can now start functioning normally again.
Okay.
That is exactly what happens in the liver.
Let's talk about how much weight loss is realistic. But before that, I think a lot of people asked specifically on YouTube, they wanted a definition of what is keto diet and what is intermittent fasting.
I see.
They wanted to know exactly what it is because I think there is an informational overload
Yes.
online. They're reading so many
Yes.
about what it is. So probably if you could just explain,
Define.
yes, what and give example. What's a keto diet? What is intermittent fasting?
Okay. A keto diet, remember, a keto diet is a diet that is high on healthy fats,
Yeah.
okay, proteins, and lots of vegetables. Why do we call it keto? Why do we call it keto? Number one, remember when you are consuming like carbohydrates, what are they converted to? Sugar. And when you prick your blood after eating anything that has carbohydrate, we are able to see your sugar going up because you are able to measure and see that your sugar is going up for sure because you have eaten amandazi, you have eaten ugali, you have eaten this, right? Now, when you stop taking carbohydrates, you need to take healthy fats, healthy proteins, and lots of vegetables, okay? That mimics ketogenic diet, or that is called sort of like keto. But you cannot say you are on ketogenic diet without looking at ketosis. Now, when you now lower your sugar intake, the body looks for other means. Remember those fats that you had already stored? You begin burning them. When you burn fat, what do you get? Free fatty acids and ketos. Free fatty acids and ketones. Now, these ketones is what we call ketosis. So if you lower your carbohydrate intake significantly, the body starts to burn what it has stored. And if it's actually burning what you have stored, I should be able to measure ketone to see it in your blood. Right?
Yeah.
And that is what is all. Now you go into ketosis. Meaning, there is no way I'm seeing ketones in your blood and you're not burning fat. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, when somebody comes to the office and they tell me they have been on ketogenic diet, all they did was to eliminate this and they never check their ketone levels. Unless you are getting ketone or ketosis, then there's no way you are saying.
So ketosis is the process by which the body now looks for other avenues to
burns fat.
to burn fat.
It burns fat to form free fatty acid and ketones.
Okay.
And when you're burning free fatty acids, when you're burning fat to get free fatty acids and ketone, you go into ketosis. And ketosis is what now makes ketogenic diet.
Oh, I see.
You get the difference? That is what ketogenic diet is.
So a lot of people usually say that keto is all about nyama.
That is not true. You see, that is another myth about ketogenic diet. Did you know you can still eliminate your carbohydrates, and if you take a lot of nyama, the body will not go into ketosis. It will not see the need of it burning the fat that is already there. It will consume the nyama that is already you are giving it.
Oh my God.
So for you to go into true ketosis,
When I end up 1 kilogram of
for you,
meat.
yes, for you to go into true ketosis, you actually need to also lower.
There has to be a lack of something.
Thank you. And that fetches out the fat that is stored. And that's the beauty of ketogenic diet. There is no way you are in ketogenic diet and you don't lose weight. Number one. Now,
The right ketogenic diet.
the right ketogenic diet.
Mm.
Now, the other question was, what is intermittent fasting?
Yes.
Intermittent fasting, the way I like looking at it is what I told you. Just figure yourself 20 years ago or 30, 50 years ago.
Yes. Teleport yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Those many years. How many meals were we having? Honestly. Guka wetu walikuwa nakula chakula ngapi? How many meals? 1 or 2 at most.
But even as recently as during my young age, we used to go grazing animals.
Yeah.
And then what we would do is that we would take sour milk and ugali in the morning.
Yes.
And that would be it
Thank you.
for the day.
Exactly. Were you doing intermittent fasting?
We didn't know. We were just living.
Now that I'm telling you to eat that 1 meal a day, it has become a gene and a good name. And then now we should abolish it. And yet, it is very therapeutic. Number
Yeah.
one, intermittent fasting. Remember, intermittent fasting is all about cutting down. Like, for example, you eat 1 meal. For example, let me start. This thing called normal, which I was asking you about. You eat asubuhi, ukienda kwa ofisi saa 4, ukienda saa 7, saa 10 na jioni. Now you decide, food is a problem. Now you cut back
Yeah.
and you start eating 3 meals a day. Are you doing intermittent fasting for at 10? By definition, you are fasting the 10 a.m. meal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and then now you eliminate the lunch one.
Mm.
Now you are also fasting the lunchtime. You are now not taking it. So now you are remaining with only 2. Now let me ask you, if you are eating asubuhi na jioni, na saa 7 ulikuwa unakula chakula ndoma, ugali, na jioni unakula keki, na saa 4 unakula maybe chapati. Let's say speaking, don't you think you will lose weight?
Yes.
You will. The other big problem is this. When people fast, I have seen people fast, and especially I will have to mention this for our brothers in the Muslim community. I see somebody doing nice intermittent fasting, and then when they break the fast,
Anakula kukula mpaka saa 6 ya usiku. Alafu wanalala during the day. Ukora sana.
I would say, I don't think sometimes it's maybe the background of knowing.
Yes.
You can be assured.
Lack of knowledge makes us
lack of
perish.
knowledge. If you did intermittent fasting the correct way, in fact, your health improves. Your energy levels improves.
Yeah.
Your alertness improves.
Yes.
Management of conditions like obesity and diabetes and hypertension improves.
Yeah. That is an hour. We have to go back to the second episode. We are going to be talking about your personalized plan, and I think this is where we are going to go back to the Kitabu cha Sukari again.
Yes.
And talk about personal plan. But when we come back, I think we are going to be talking about weight loss. Is it realistic? How realistic is weight loss? And things like that. So people of the internet, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Our good doctor, Dr. Daniel Katambo, is having a huge consultancy about weight loss, diabetes, and a lot of programs that he's running. If you're struggling with weight, you're struggling with a disease that is associated with weight,
Yes.
it is important to go and see him. Now, listen very carefully. We are going to leave in the description his website. We at Dialogues with Jagero, we do not leave the number. We leave the website. In the website, there are so many numbers of his. Autamkosa. So please, just look at the description. You'll find his number. You'll call him. Then you can consult with him. His book, which is also called Kitabu cha Sukari, which we are going to talk about in details in episode 2, when we are going to be talking about personalized plan diets. you can also get this book. This book is actually 3,950. And it has a lot of things. We are going to talk about it in episode 2. Again, if you want to buy this book, I think this is the holy grail. My wife called it a holy grail
Oh, wonderful.
for weight loss. Because it is so simple. It is so much to the point. Aina siasa mingi, aina vitu mingi. Just look at the book and eat, and you are fine. Okay, so this book is selling this book. You can also buy it. So until another episode, bye for now.